All right, I'm going to do a hunt breakdown on a Missouri 9-point that was in the upper 150s. Really cool buck, split brow tines, neat deer from a few years back. A pretty interesting story. I'm actually hunting in Kansas. We had a lease there with another guy, and day 2 in Kansas, a helicopter crew came into the center of the lease and started working on a power line, and they were going to be there running in and out with a helicopter working on the power line for like 10 days. And that's exactly how long I had to hunt. So I called the landowner. He said, too bad, so sad, nothing we can do about it. Pretty upset about that, but there's nothing I could do, but our hunt and lease was ruined. So instead of giving up and driving back to South Carolina from Kansas, a 17-hour drive, I tried to get resourceful. Called my buddy that I hunt with in Illinois, asked him if he knew any properties in that area in Kansas. And he said no, but a friend of his had just picked up a big farm, an investment tract in Missouri, and I could definitely go and hunt that. So that night, went back to the hotel room, got on the phone with him, pulled up a map on Google Earth, went over the property, picked out a few areas that we thought would be good. I left the next morning, like 4:30 in the morning, and drove from Kansas to Missouri. And this is kind of what I got into on the map. So the first thing was we went over the map because it was going to have to be kind of a scout and hunt scenario, because I didn't have time. I've never set foot on this property and didn't really have time to learn it. So I had to get in and start hunting right away. So what I looked for was a giant piece of cover, and there was a big block of woods, probably 150 acres of woods on this farm, and then there was a finger of woods that went out this way into some ag. And then there was kind of overgrown CRP back here, open pasture on this side, and this whole thing here was open pasture. So what I did is I got there about 10 o'clock in the morning from Kansas, and I drove in. There was an access road right here. I drove in and turned down this big section of woods because I wanted to see. I drive in. I knew there would be farm trucks and stuff that drove through this pasture, so I wasn't worried about driving my truck in there, but I didn't want to walk down this if I didn't have to. So I drove down this in my truck, and there were rubs and scrapes all along here, and there was a little hill, and when I got over to the hill, 5 does ran into the woods. So I knew this was going to be good bedding with a bunch of scrapes and rubs up the edge. So when I got over here, I did get out and found a tree right in here because, believe it or not, this is the first week of November. We were going to have a southwest wind for about 2 days, and then it was going to switch. So I figured with a southwest wind blowing this way, I'd be good for anything that came out of this bedding area, and anything that came out of this kind of overgrown CRP, I'd be able to get before it kicked my wind. So that was the plan. So I got my stand hung, drove back out of here, went and checked into the hotel, came back that afternoon, and again, instead of walking right down this edge where I'm expecting the deer to come out of, I looped way out in this pasture and came all the way around to my stand over here. So, if I'd walked right down this edge, the deer had come out, smelled where I'd walked, could have ruined the hunt. Anyway, that's not what happened. Saw a couple little bucks early back here headed towards this ag. I don't know if I mentioned that earlier or not, but there was beans and corn still standing back here, and I just knew this funnel area was going to be hot. And I guess, fairly early in the afternoon, probably 4:30, 5 o'clock, that big 9 came out and started working a scrape. I grunted, snort wheezed at him, and he walked all the way over here, got a shot at him. He ran back in here. Wasn't real sure about the hit, because he ducked the string a little bit, as you'll see on the video.
Got him.
But found him the next morning. He was laying right here in a ditch. But I guess the moral of the story here, or the points to take away from this, don't give up if a hunting spot gets ruined. You know, just don't throw in the towel. Keep working and trying to find somewhere else to go. And then when you find a new big block of land or a property to hunt, depending on what time of year it is, you can literally hunt and scout, hunt and scout. That's when, you know, this new mobile craze is kind of taken over. We were doing that a while ago, but you know, you can hang and hunt, scout, find fresh sign, hang and hunt. This just happened to work out the first afternoon. The other point that I would make here is that your access, you got to be really careful how you enter these stands, and that's why I looped way out in the pasture to get there. So hope this is helpful. Good hunt breakdown from Missouri. Obviously some luck plays into it, having a farm, a friend, but again, it's building those relationships and not being afraid to ask and get after it. And that's what it took, and it was successful. So thanks guys. Any comments or questions, let us know. Appreciate you following along.